Welcome to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, 5-time Voice Arts Awards nominee, David Brower.
Thanks, Alan. This is David Brower with your 20-minute podcast. Our special guest from Fairmont, West Virginia is Karen Ford. She's a master financial coach, public speaker, entrepreneur, best-selling author, and her number one book on Amazon right now is Money Matters, and fascinating. Welcome, Karen. Glad to have you on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be on here with you as well.
So how did all this come about? Where did, I know you're a full-time administrator and elder at the Faith Church International. Did all this financial magic come from there, or where did it start?
Well, I've always been good with money. I had people tell me my entire life that I was great with money, and actually, I have a background as a registered nurse. So I look at it like this, David. When I was a nurse, I helped people get healthy physically, and now I help people get healthy financially.
Awesome.
So I went through some training several years ago to become a master financial coach, and I just so enjoy helping people get out of debt, build kingdom wealth, and, give people hope, because my mantra is it doesn't matter how much debt you have, you can get out of debt.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And it is about not being so overwhelmed by it enough to be able to find the right help, the right assistance, come up with a plan, work the plan, and at the end of the plan you're going, "Oh my God, how did I do that?"
Yeah,
and you've had so much success doing that, and so how does it work? How do you work in groups? Do you work with individuals? How does the process work to help people demolish their debt and build their wealth?
Well, I give financial freedom seminars, so I will speak to large groups of people. I've spoken in churches before, but I also do one-on-one coaching, and that's with an individual or with a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Now, certainly, if someone is married and they want to get out of debt and build wealth, I prefer meeting with the couple together.
You bet.
Otherwise, you have a wife saying this is what we need to do to her husband, or vice versa. So if it's a married couple, I prefer meeting with both of them at the same time. And I ask a series of questions to find out exactly where they are financially. And then I also find out what their goals are. Where do they want to see themselves in 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, or even next year?
Yeah.
Because I have found if they can identify and visualize that dream, now we can set some goals to it, because a dream without a goal, or a vision without a goal, remains a dream. So if you have a vision for your life, if you have a vision for where you want to be financially, the next task is to write it down and then come up with some goals to reach that. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
it's just going to be a pipe dream in your mind, and you're never going to try to attain it.
Well, and the other part that I like about that process is that it gives you the opportunity to look forward to something that could be a joy, instead of looking back on something that's dragging you down and you feel so overwhelmed by it. I mean, just having the opportunity to look forward to something every day is one of the gifts that I am blessed with, and I wish everybody could experience that. But I would think that would be part of the process too. They have to quit feeling so bad about where they've been to feel like they have an opportunity to get out of that.
That's so true, and that's where I come in. I try to give people hope. I'm just trying to think. There's a Bible verse that says, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when desire comes, it is a tree of life." When people don't have any hope, they feel sick emotionally, physically. They just, feel horribly bad about themselves. But if they can see that they can get out of debt, that they can build wealth, they can take control of their finances, now we've got hope going on.
Absolutely.
And it's probably not going to happen overnight, because let's face it, it's surely a lot easier to get into debt than it is to get out of debt.
Right. Right.
I mean, you could go into debt overnight. If you go on Amazon or any website, you can go into debt rather quickly. It takes a little bit more time to get out of debt, but if you're focused and you're motivated to get out of debt, then you can do it.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt in my mind you can do it.
And the other cool thing about that is when there is a couple, and I couldn't agree with you more, you have to have them both in there together so that everybody's on the same page, on the same plan. And my wife and I went through a similar process as what you do through our church a few years ago. And she's a public health nurse and is excellent with the money, so there's some similarities to you there. And so she was able to really buy into a process that worked for us, which allowed me to buy into a process that works for us. So all of a sudden, we had a budget. Who knew? And it was a budget, right?
Yeah.
And it was a budget
There
was a budget that we could both live with. And all of a sudden, as you said a moment ago, writing it down, hey, it becomes real when you write it down. Whether it's a budget or a vision, it becomes real.
Oh, that is so true. And you just said a mouthful when you said the word budget. You know, I've coached so many people that when they hear that word budget, they're thinking it's a 4-letter word.
Right.
They're thinking, for a variety of reasons. But really, simply put, a budget is telling your money what you want it to do instead of wondering where it went.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where I have found when people get paid, and they look at the end of the month, or we just got done with tax time, right?
Right.
They get ready to do their taxes, and they see what their income was for the year. 9 times out of 10, if people say, I have no idea where all that money went, 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't budget.
Yep.
And when you don't budget, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot because you don't know where that money's going. You're spending it, and you don't remember where you spent it, how you spent it, what you spent it on, and it's just like bags in a hole, holes in a bag, rather.
Yeah.
Money's coming in your hands, and it's running through your fingers like water. But when you do a budget, you're in control.
And that's the difference. I mean, without a budget, and believe me, I learned this the hard way thanks to my wife, because I was not a very practical person until I met her. And so to be able to realize that a budget is a good thing, a budget is a motivating thing, a budget is a partner, if you will, to help you and your spouse get to the other side of this darkness that is dragging you down. You just have to figure out a way to get the buy-in, and that's where you come in.
That's right. Yes. It's actually very rewarding to me. I have coached people from the age of 18 years old all the way up to 72.
Nice.
And the common denominator with all of them, and it's kind of sad, really, they all say, I never was taught the budget.
Yeah.
They never learned. And so I feel like I'm really helping people get control of their finances, and it makes me feel good. And of course, it makes them feel good because now they're making the decisions rather than wondering where all that money went.
Yeah. And I talked about this with my wife, my kids, people on different podcasts, college educators, high school educators. What I've never, ever in my life understood why there wasn't, and as I understand it, still isn't, an opportunity for students to learn what a budget is. How to work a checkbook.
Right.
What's that debit card going to do to you or for you? I mean, just real basic life skills regarding money. And we just all go out there and go, oh, gosh, I'm making all this money. I'm going to go buy blah, blah, blah. It's just, we're just set up. So many times we're set up to fail, I think, because we don't know what we don't know about money.
I heard somebody say, it may have been John Maxwell, that said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's a T-shirt right there. You got to,
It is. The whole key is planning, and that's what a budget is. It's a plan.
Yeah.
And I think of it like this, David. If you're planning a vacation, and let's just say you're going to take a vacation to Florida.
Okay.
Well, you're going to come up with a plan. Are you going to fly? Are you going to drive? Are you going to take a train? And if you're going to drive, what's the route you're going to take? So money is the same way. If your goal is to get out of debt, now we have to come up with a driving route for you, so to speak.
Yeah.
How are you going to get there?
it's easier to get a buy-in to something like that, like making a route, making a trip, and going, oh, that's how my money works? Lights go off everywhere, right?
That's exactly right.
That is so cool. So people are in debt, a single person, 18 to 72, whatever, a married couple. How do they get in touch with you? What is the best way for them to cry wolf?
Well, the best way for them to cry wolf, of course, a lot of times it's word of mouth.
Yes.
When people are successful with budgeting and they're taking control of their money, word of mouth is great. And of course, social media. And then I have my own website as well, which is KarenFord.org. I've written a few books on money as well. And of course, all my contact information is in the back of the books. So it's a lot of times it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
Success stories are so powerful.
Aren't they? Absolutely, they are.
Yeah.
And some of the books that you have are 31 Days to a Greater Understanding of Money. You Can Do It. Money Matters. Money Nuggets.
Yeah.
The 31 Days fascinates me because that's like, 31 days to a greater. I can understand money in 31 days. Fascinating,
Sure. Yes.
So
absolutely.
So your books have to be being received very, very well. Are you working on a new book?
I am not at this time. I just published the fourth one. It was released about 4 weeks ago. So I'm taking a little break right now.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. And that's the Money Matters book, right?
Well, actually, the newest book is You Can Do It.
Oh,
and it's actually on real estate investing. So
there it is.
I've kind of made it simple for people if they decide they want to consider investing in real estate.
And the way the economy's been going the last several years, it's a lot of people are interested in that, and it's real estate investing made simple. And that it sounds like brain surgery when you think about it, but if it's made simple, which obviously is being done with your book, you can help people understand how it works, help them get a larger income so they can have a lifestyle that they've been dreaming about, become a real estate investor, buying their first property. There's all kinds of educational, simple ways to understand how that process works. What brought you to the real estate idea?
Several years ago, I heard someone say that they had bought some property through a state auditor auction, and of course that intrigued me, but I like buying properties for flipping purposes. I like taking a piece of property and it's dated, and maybe it's in, not in the best condition, and then going in and doing some renovating, updating, putting some fresh paint on it and making it nice for somebody else to live in. And I just think taking a home that maybe is dated to the 1940s or 1950s, going in and revamping the kitchen and the bathrooms and then updating maybe the hardwood floors. There's just something about that I so enjoy. Taking something that is salvageable. There's nothing wrong, foundation is good.
Yeah.
But just renovating it so a new family can move in and enjoy it as their home. And many times it's a first-time home buyer that ends up buying our homes, which is very exciting. It's exciting for them. It's exciting for us because they're getting a great product. We had bought a home on foreclosure several years ago, and unfortunately for these people, they lost their home, but they had put in a brand new furnace, a brand new central air. We went in, updated the electric, gutted the bathroom, gutted the kitchen, and put in new carpet and flooring, and did all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And a young family with two small little girls ended up buying that home, and I was just thoroughly excited for them. But they weren't going to have to do anything to it. So that was great.
Well, and the other thing, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, the other thing is, you're flipping homes. But with that said, it's for a wonderful reason, a wonderful purpose. It comes from a servant's heart, and you're making it affordable for young families, and that's virtually impossible in this world we live in.
Right. And that is just a thrill for us as
absolutely.
it is for the people buying the home. So, yeah.
So when they get your new book, You Can Do It, they can understand real estate investing made simple. And with that said, they can also reach out to you, I would assume, and get some advice, some counsel, hey, I've got a home already ready for you, that kind of thing?
That's exactly right. Yes, sir.
Wow.
It doesn't take long before word of mouth gets out there, and now they start contacting us.
Right.
Do you have anything?
Right.
So that's a win-win.
That is a win-win. Yeah. I like one of the things that I was reading about you in your description, if you will. It says you have coached people with a variety of money issues, from just $500 in debt to $800,000 in debt, and have coached folks with up to 86 credit cards and taught them how to pay down and pay off those cards in record time. I mean, that is terrifying. 86 credit cards.
It's very terrifying. The bad thing about that situation, and it was obviously heartrending that they had 86 credit cards.
Right.
But the bad thing about that situation was when they sat down with me, I asked a series of questions, and I list their debts so we can see exactly. Let's get all the cards on the table, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there, and I said, "Is there anything else?" And she said, "Well, I have some credit cards that he doesn't know about." And this is her husband.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." So we start writing those down. And then I said, "Is that it?" And she said, "Yes." And then he said, "Well, I have some credit cards that she doesn't know about."
Oh, my gosh.
So actually, the two of them together had about 40 credit cards that they knew about. And then the remaining 46, she had some he didn't know about. He had some she didn't know about.
Wow.
So when it was all said and done, they had 86 credit cards.
I have to believe that process opened up a communication between those two people, a deeper communication that possibly they had never had before. So you might not only have been a financial advisor and winner, you may have been a very successful marriage counselor.
Well, I would hope so, to be honest with you. After that session, I just said, "Now listen, both of you did some things, secretly.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're married, you don't want to do that.
Right.
So we're not going to leave here and get into a fight because both of you were at fault." So I was trying to head that off at the pass before they left,
Yeah.
So yes, now everything has to be out on the table. So if there's anybody listening right now and you're married, may I encourage you that if you have credit cards or any kind of debt that your mate doesn't know about, fess up and share it.
That's right.
So you don't end up in that same predicament.
That is absolutely right. We're the place to find more information and to connect with Karen is her website, KarenFord.org, and she has several books available on Amazon. And the 31 Days to Greater Understanding of Money, the newest one, You Can Do It. Money Matters, the Motivation, Methods, and Manners for Increase, and Money Nuggets. So fabulous work you do and touching people in so many ways. And I appreciate your time. Really enjoyed talking with you today.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Listen to Your 20-Minute Podcast with David Brower on the go. Downloads are available on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcast app, and on our website at davidbrowervo.com/Your 20-Minute Podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.